In today's video, we are going to be making this healthy and flavorful vegan no-bake carrot cake. Not only is this cake super flavorful, but it's also packed with vitamins, fiber, and protein. So let's get right into the recipe. The ingredients we will need will be 2 large carrots. These I've just peeled and cut into larger pieces. For the flour, we're going to be using 1 cup of rolled oats, a cup of almonds, and a cup of shredded coconut or coconut flakes. For the sweetener, I'm using 1 cup of medjool dates, about 8 to 10 depending how large they are, and I've just taken the pits out of those. I also have 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, about a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of coconut milk, and for the spices, I have 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. And for the frosting, I have 1 cup of raw cashews, 1/2 cup of coconut milk, 3 medjool dates, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And that's gonna be all for our ingredients. To my food processor, I'm going to start by adding 2 large carrots. Then you can pop on the lid and we're going to blend this until it's completely shredded. My carrots have just finished, so we are ready to add in the rest of our ingredients. As you can see, they are completely shredded. I'm going to start by adding 1 cup of rolled oats. Then we can add in 1 cup of almonds, 1 cup of coconut flakes, and a cup of medjool dates. If yours are harder, definitely soak them in hot water. Mine were really soft though, so I'm just going to add them in like this. Then we can add in our spices, which is 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. A teaspoon of vanilla extract, and just a splash of the coconut milk. You don't want to add a lot because then the dough will become too soft. Now we can add back on our lid and we're going to blend this until it's nice and creamy. I've just finished blending my cake, and once you have a creamy consistency like this, you're going to be ready to transfer this into a baking dish. If you're enjoying this recipe, then make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can get notified anytime I post a new video. Now let's get back to the recipe. Here I have a 7.5 inch square baking dish, and I'm just going to drizzle in a tad of olive oil just so the cake doesn't stick. You can also use parchment paper. I prefer not to because I feel like it's easier to get the cake out if you're using a spatula. And then you can just pour this in to the baking dish. Most no-bake cakes, I feel like you can really tell when they're no-bake. This one has that really creamy, cakey texture. Plus, when it sits in the fridge, it's gonna stiffen up a lot. Once you scooped out as much as you possibly could, you're gonna take your spoon and just slightly press that down, just to make it even at the top. And we're going to pop this in the fridge to chill for at least 2 hours. The longer it sits, the stiffer it's gonna get, which is gonna make it a more cake consistency. While the cake is chilling, we're going to prepare the frosting. To a larger bowl, I'm going to add in 1 cup of raw cashews and 3 medjool dates, which I have taken the pits out of. And on top of this, I'm just going to pour some hot water, and we're going to let this sit for at least 5 minutes so the cashews and dates can soften up. And now I'm just going to add these straight into my blender. You want to soak the cashews especially because they are a harder nut, and by soaking them, they'll become way softer and your cream or frosting will be a way nicer consistency. To this, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and about 1/2 cup of coconut milk. You can add in about 1/2 for now, and then blend and see if you want to add more. You don't want the cream to be too runny. Now just pop on the lid and blend till smooth. I just finished blending the frosting. You're gonna want it to be nice and thick like this, but still really creamy, so it can spread nicely on top of the cake. I've just taken the cake out of the fridge, and now we can just spread all of our frosting on top. And now you're just going to spread a thick coat over the entire cake. Before I put the cake back in the fridge, I am gonna top with some carrot ribbons and walnuts. This part is optional though. I like taking the walnuts and just adding a little bit everywhere, just to crumble for a little bit of a decoration and for a little bit of a crunch. And I am using these rainbow carrots because they're kind of pinkish and yellowish, which adds a really cool color. Now that I've finished adding all of the toppings, as you can see, it's completely covered. We're going to pop this in the fridge for the remaining of the 2 hours. So my cake has just finished chilling, so now we can slice it and serve. Each slice of carrot cake has 350 calories, 18 grams of natural sugar from the dates and from the carrots, 7.5 grams of fiber, and 8 grams of protein. Each slice also has 27% of your daily value of vitamin A and 22% of your daily value of vitamin E, as well as other nutrients like potassium, iron, magnesium, and calcium. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this recipe. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and comment down below what your favorite no-bake dessert is. See you next time.